Hi folks, James here once again. A very warm welcome to you all, and I'm going to show you a couple of my most recent bargain pipes. And you will have seen in the little intro there that one is a very nice Meerschaum Kiko, and the other is a little Dunhill. And I got the Dunhill last year actually, and meant to do a little bit of a presentation on it, but in fact I cleaned it up and actually just used it and have been smoking it very regularly, but more about that in a moment. So the Kiko pipe, which I'm not going to show you too much more of because I've got some footage of it. Now this I purchased back in was it the end of January, I think it was. There was a sort of vintage and antique collectibles and antiques sort of general fair at a local park, and it was the usual sort of thing, a mixture of all sorts of interesting things. Not a massive fair by any means, but had a quick scoot round, and lo and behold, it couldn't really be missed. This was on a gentleman's stall, and I had actually been looking out for something like this Kiko pipe. I like them because they're substantial. I like the sort of caramel sort of blend of colours that you get around the rim there, and yeah, I just really like it. And to see this just sat there, I was just, well, I couldn't believe it. And so anyway, it appears to be very lightly smoked, or it was when I bought it. I've smoked it rather a lot, and it is a very large pipe, quite comfortable to smoke, not unduly unbalanced I would say, but at the bowl it's about 2 inches by 1 inch, I think. So as you can imagine, that holds a lot of tobacco, and I've I do fill this pipe up actually, and generally speaking it's probably 3 to 4 hours if I'm smoking as I should be, and it's lovely. So yeah, I'm sure you're all aware of the benefits of the Meerschaum. So yeah, very pleased with that. I am finding, unfortunately, the little I think it's the elephant logo. I don't know if you can just make out there. The more I've used this pipe, actually that's kind of worn a bit thin. And when I first got it, it was like new. It was just completely perfect. So unfortunately it has you know, kind of rubbed away somewhat, which is a bit of a shame. but as I say, in almost new condition, very lightly smoked, for the princely sum of £25, which I thought was very, very reasonable, and I'm glad that I found one. I was patient. I thought one would come along at some point, and so yeah, I was very pleased. And yes, you can buy new meerschaum pipes. I could have gone online, I could have looked around like that, but I thought I'd hold on, and my patience paid off, and I wasn't looking for it, that's the thing, at the particular time. So this is off and away. So one of my favourite finds, that is my Kiko meerschaum, and you'll be seeing a bit of that in the future, I expect. And just as a little comparison, I've got another Kiko here. I'll try and get them in perspective. You can see this one here is kind of like a normal medium to small bowl, and this is obviously right by. It's hard to compare them and get a good impression, but this is a chunky old pipe. But yeah, so that's really pleasing. Pop that up there nice and safe. So that was great, and as I say, last year I came across this lovely little tan shell Dunhill, which was actually from, it was a friend of ours who's got a stall, and she specialises in sort of everything, bits and bobs, sort of homewares, and kind of small things, small items, from ostensibly from sort of the 1920s through till the sort of 50s and 60s, and she's always got some brilliant stuff, and quite often she has pipes, and she knows that that I'm always looking out for them, but she's not, obviously she doesn't go out of her way to get them, and really I don't think she sees them as a sort of a valuable item, let's say. So anyway, I bought some other items. I got some Bakelite switches actually for the house, and yeah, I spotted this actually on a little rack with a few other bits and bobs, and sort of went through very quickly and had a bit of a look and assess what was there, and it was completely filthy, and you know, the cake was, you know, almost filling up the bowl, and I thought, oh, I don't know, and I had a look, and it wasn't really till I turned it over. I could see the dot on the stem, that was very clear obviously, but I wasn't entirely sure if it was actually a Dunhill or not, so I sort of looked as close as I could, and yes, it was actually a Dunhill. So I popped it in with my other things, and I think actually she threw it in more or less, as far as I can work out, it was about £3 I think she charged me for it. So yeah, a very pleasing addition to the collection after some serious work, just cleaning up really. It was really very filthy, and it took a lot of the bowl actually took a lot of clean. That was the worst thing because of the cake, and just the general grime, and it's actually quite bashed up. You could see a little bit on the, so the rim is pretty well bashed up, and it's a little bit scorched because I've just been using it. It's a great little pipe. It's quite short, it's light, so I've been using it in all situations, but it's handy if you're doing something, if I've been busy gardening or whatever. So yeah, it's a great little pipe. Not I wouldn't go out of my way to spend a lot of money on one of these little Dunhill tan shells, there are much nicer examples. This, I don't know whether it actually is what you would have paid new for one of these, but I mean, little things like the stem fit, the rustication is fairly nice. So it's a fairly small bowl with a fairly thin wall, so it's probably obviously a lower grade, I would think. Ones like this probably come up fairly often, so but nonetheless a very pleasing little pipe, and I didn't necessarily buy it because it was a Dunhill. It was just the fact that it was there, and yeah, I knew I would be able to get it fairly reasonably, so I suppose I have bought it in a little bit because of its name, but as a pipe it's very modest. I have other pipes that were about the same sort of money to buy, and they're just as nice, so, and they smoke just as well. So there we have it. Two very nice pipes that I'm very pleased with, and as I say, they're sort of very valid additions to the collection. I try not to buy too many now, and you know, I can get to the stage where I'll just buy any pipe because it's there, and that's not a good idea all the time. So I hadn't got a pipe for, in fact, since the last year's pipe show. In fact, I bought a Blake Meyer there, and then after that I thought, right, that'll do for now, until I saw that this little Dunhill. So yeah, there we have it. Two bargain pipes, and I hope my footage does them justice. I would say obviously they're estate pipes, they've been well used. I have cleaned them up for the purposes of this, but they're just real life pipes that have been well smoked and loved, and yeah, you can have a bit of a look and see what you think. I say I'm very pleased with them, and I hope you've enjoyed me sharing them with you. So with that, I shall say thank you very much for watching and for subscribing, and we'll see you again soon on the next one. Cheerio.
Pick a rib, make it a habit. Pick a rib, reach out and grab it. Make a thing of it, cut the flip. Get the swing of it, pick a rib. C-H-E-E-R-I-O.
What's the word that everyone is saying? You can hear it everywhere you go. What's the tune that every band is playing?